of course, 2025 has a bunch of movies coming out, and we don't get the chance to watch them all. So, of course, this is the opportunity to catch up on some movies that we either missed in theaters or they never released in theaters, right? But besides that, we have four today, that being Vatican, a paranormal movie, Lifeless, a rom-com slash type of drama, not a lot. Next one being a suspenseful movie, Neighborhood Watch, and an animated movie, Predator Killer of Killers. That's right, a really diverse set of movies and really no underlying theme behind it. But besides that, let's get on with the first one being Vatican, a paranormal movie being rated 7.5 out of 10 by IMDb, 7.5 out of 10 by Prime Video. It revolves around this paranormal activity guy, right? That's this whole thing. He studies paranormal activity, and he is tasked with reviewing a reality TV show where in the reality TV show they're basically faking paranormal activity, which then it turns out it's real, and ends up basically killing everyone in the cast and crew. And obviously one of the victims is the investigator's friend's husband. So of course he was tasked with it. We uncovers the dark truth, right? And you may be wondering, you seem to be kind of not knowing what the plot is, and that's because I really could not pick it up. One, because it's a foreign film, obviously not being in English. Obviously, I have to read the subtitles. Sometimes you miss something. But it is a boring movie, dude. I am so sorry, but it is straight boring, dude. The only thing that goes for it, because the pros and cons, there's some pros. The pros is that it looks good, right? Which is not a good thing, but that's like one of the main pros, right? And sometimes it's goofy and you laugh a little bit. Sometimes. Out of the whole movie, I can say maybe 10% of the movie maybe is goofy and you'll laugh at it. Of course, humor is subjective, but if someone says, oh yeah, 50% of the movie, I was laughing all the time, I was like, okay, you're lying. Right? And the kills in the movie, because there are kills, some of them are pretty good, but most of them are not. Most of them are just, oh, I blinked, boom, right? One of the kills, actually, I'll talk about is basically how, Freddy Krueger in I think it was the Dream Warriors, I don't know. But where he kills his victim by shoving them inside a TV. I mean, this happens kind of the same thing, but with the microwave. And that's a pretty good kill. It's a memorable kill, one of the most memorable scenes of the movie. Unfortunately for it, it is, first of all, the dubbing is weird. I don't even know if it's dubbing, but it sounds like it's a dubbed over movie, which is weird, and I didn't like it. And sometimes they change the language, I do believe mostly because some words can't be translated or something. But sometimes they speak full sentences in English and then switch back to their native language, which confuses the hell out of me. It's slow, the acting is, I guess you could say, subpar. The editing, there's some weird editing choices. And the CGI for some of the kills are just straight bad. I can't say it any other way. No sugarcoating it. It's straight bad. It's boring for like 75% of the movie, where you're expecting a paranormal movie just for it to only appear in the last quarter. Not even like, oh, maybe there's some glimpses over here or over there. No, it's nothing. Nothing for like 75% of the movie. Nothing but dialogue and dialogue. And it brings nothing. The dialogue isn't even interesting. It's just weird. And you could say it's a cultural issue, and it very much could be. But, I don't even know why I even chose this movie. I only watched it because it was just there. I was like, paranormal activity? Might as well. So I clicked on it, and it was the worst mistake of my life, man. I do not recommend this. This isn't even it's so bad it's good. It's so bad it stays bad. But besides that, I gave it a 4.5. I gave it a 4 out of 10. You could even make an argument for a 2 out of 10. I only gave it 4 out of 10 because I'm giving it a benefit of the doubt, and I'm assuming that it's just a cultural thing. But for me, I cannot watch it over again, man. If someone says, "Hey, man, let's watch a movie," and if they pick this one, I'm kicking them out the house. But besides that, the next one is a rom-com called The Lifeless, which revolves around, let's just read a little synopsis. Alex, the main character, her mother passes away and of course gives everyone a will except her. She gets a little mini quest, of course, that being the Lifeless, which she wrote when she was young, detailing what she wanted to do in life and who she wanted to be as a person. And the only way that she gets her will is by finishing the Lifeless before the end of the year. And of course, with that, she finds new love, a new purpose, and she finds herself once again. And of course, it's a very interesting movie, right? But besides that, let's get into the reviews first. Obviously, 6.8 out of 10 by IMDb, 4.4 out of 10 by Next Best Picture, 48% by Rotten Tomatoes, but 70% by the people. Obviously, the people liked it. And of course, yeah, it's overall, it's a very good movie. Not great, but not bad. Definitely not bad. The good part is, of course, it's cringy to say the least, but it's a good type of cringy. You know, the type that you could relate to. Like, I've been through that again. I've been through that before. I relate. Once again, it has a very good cast of people. Obviously, the bum boyfriend who she leaves in the beginning of the movie. It's very funny for the most part. The next boyfriend, the second boyfriend, the young lawyer, the siblings as well. The dynamic between them is a very nice, heart-warming scenes. Her friends, not so much, but I assume that was the whole point of the character, so we'll let it slide. It's a funny movie, obviously with the will. There's some good scenes, obviously being the will, where she basically finds out that not only is she basically, obviously everyone's getting their will, and they get parts of the business, they get this and that, and that's where she finds out that she has to complete a quest. Well, she doesn't find out she has to complete a quest. She finds out that she gets nothing in the will. And not only that, for the most part, she was working for her mother at the company, right? I think she was like VP of something. It doesn't really matter. Because during the will scene, one of her daughters-in-laws gets given basically the company, right? And is tasked to find a replacement for her position. She finds out that she gets fired. And I'm like, damn, that's a bit bad. And it makes sense and it doesn't, because at the end of the day, it's not like she's bad with her family, so it's not like she can't ask them for help in case she financially needs it, because obviously they love each other for the most part. But that's a pretty good scene. I was like, damn, she got fired by her dead mother. She literally talks about it. But it's, for overall, the movie's a very sweet movie, obviously, with her and her siblings reminiscing in their old home. Obviously, her trying to reconnect with her dad. Both dads, by the way, because in the movie, big bombshell, spoilers obviously, she finds out that she is not her dad's daughter, right? She's not her dad's, right? The one who raised her. And of course, they divorced, and she kind of blames the dad for being that person, right? For being that thing. But we later find out that it's because the mother cheated on her husband. And that's how she had Alex. And then she blames her mom, obviously, for cheating. And then she basically says, oh, is this why dad doesn't treat me the same? But the thing is, throughout the movie, they talk about how he's a good dad. He's a good dad. And we'll kind of end it there. Is that she goes to try to find her bio dad to reconnect or something. But besides that, it's a good story about family and rediscovering yourself and doing what you love. You know, it's a very heartfelt movie. But the bad things are, the bum boyfriend is obviously a bum for working, I guess you could say, a minimum wage job and playing video games all day, right? But obviously the plot must proceed, so she must dump him. So they make his bad qualities like way worse, like super quickly. So it makes sense that she broke up with him, right? The life list, a big chunk of it is kind of just a montage, basically. The romance is really weird because obviously one of her life lists, obviously being the main one, is that she has to find true love, right? Actually, two of the main ones is that she has to become a teacher again because that's what she really wanted to do, but apparently kind of just gave up on that dream and finding true love. So she ends up working at this one place, of course, where she teaches underprivileged kids, and then she finds Gary, which is the second boyfriend, where they hit it off because he's the perfect one. He has a good, stable job. He's wearing a tuxedo, bro. And yeah, they hit it off. And it ends up not going the best because her friends are, oh man, they're annoying, right? Like, oh, you're going to marry her or something like that. Why? Because in the life list it says find true love by the end of the year to get your will. So obviously he understandably is a little like, are you only using me to get your will? And obviously she's understandably kind of mad at that too because she's being accused of leading him on. So they have a fight. That makes sense, right? That's not the real problem with the romance. As obviously there needs to be some conflict in the story, so they have to do it like that. And I think that would have been good if it wasn't for the fact that she cheats on him. Son of a bitch! She cheats on him with the young lawyer, that being Brad, obviously the one reading her the will and being basically on the same journey with her, kind of, because he's just helping her complete her life list. Obviously giving her things for completing certain things. But he goes on a trip with her, right, to go find a bio dad named Johnny, who works as a singer at a local bar. Well, not local because they have to go somewhere else, right? But it's local for them. And he brings his girlfriend. They go on this trip together. Brad and his girlfriend get in a fight. She ends up taking a business trip, which obviously everyone knows. She got pissed and left. And then Brad and Alex hook up, right? And of course, to the viewers, Brad and Alex both cheated on their significant other. Except for the fact that it's later revealed that Brad actually broke up with her girlfriend, and that's why probably he was pursuing her. Because, hey, I'm single now. I don't have no commitment. But Alex was still technically in a committed relationship with Gary. They do not lie when they say romance movies are basically about cheating. She cheated on him, and then she left him, and then she broke it off with Brad because they got mad at each other again because it's whatever, and then they get back together at the end of the movie. Yeah, it's cheating, man. I don't know, man. It's the same thing over and over again. Oh, man, I love you. Oh, nope, never mind. This guy's better than you. I'm going to cheat on you, and I'm going to leave you. Like, okay. Could just left and whatever, right? But besides that, the ending, it's the whole, oh, I go in the middle of the street with you. Oh, I love you. You're perfect. I don't care if we fight or something like that, right? I'm like, get out of here, man. I'm not trying to watch this. Besides that, another good scene, which is also technically a bad scene, is the bio dad scene. That being, because the whole thing was reconnecting with her dad, right? That was one of the things that she wanted to do and needed to do, but she never wanted to. She ended up taking all the energy, because time and time again has they shown that the dad who raised her constantly has been trying to reach out to her to mend things. He was the one trying to fix things. Yet after she knew that he was cheated on, and that's why they broke up and everything, she ends up not trying to mend things with her actual dad. She tries to go and mend things with her bio dad, who, I guess you could say never made an attempt, or at least what we know, never made an attempt to be in her life, right? After she finds him, he technically says that he actually did try to, be in the life, right? But what he saw was that her dad, and the one who raised her, obviously, loved her, right? It was like, oh, all I saw was a dad and his daughter, right? And that's why I didn't try to intrude on that thing, right? It's like, oh man, my dad's basically perfect, right? She never tried to fix things with her dad, right? But later she tries to make a meetup spot once again to meet up with her dad, her bio dad, and he never shows up. And then she goes crawling back to the dad who raised her. Oh man, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm sorry for doing this, bro. Why? The one who's constantly trying to fix it. It's not even like the dad didn't want to fix things. He was the one actively trying to do it. And she just said, scram. I want my actual dad, my real dad. And I'm like, get out of here, man. So yeah, there's a lot of good, and then there's a lot of bad and annoying things. What I gave it was a 7.5 out of 10. It's a good movie, but there's just certain things where you just are like, oh my god, this main character reminds me, I wanna pull my hair out. But besides that, let's get on with a rated R movie, that being Neighborhood Watch, starring Negan from The Walking Dead and that dude from The Boys. Very nice. But anyways, the main story is that the main character, Simon, suffers from mental illness where he hallucinates certain things, right? And he's not trusted really to be alone. You get the point, right? He's mentally not well for the most part. But he sees someone get abducted and thrown into the back of a van. And of course he goes tells the cops. And they don't believe him one bit because he's seen as essentially the neighborhood loony, right? He's the loony guy that no one should trust. And of course he knows that what he saw, right? He knows what he saw. He suffers from, I think, schizophrenia, where throughout the movie he sees this vision of this man who basically kind of like tortured them, like because he has a sister and he beat both of them up, and apparently he broke her jaw. So yeah, constantly he's seeing this vision of or hallucination of this guy that did those things to them, and he's basically the voice of, you're not good enough, you're just seeing things, you're crazy, you shouldn't even attempt to do it because who even believes you, no one even likes you, something like that, right? Constant doubt and all this other things, right? So a lot about mental illness. So he instead lists the help of Ed Dearman, and Ed is the security guard to a college. He was actually, I think, fired, right? But he thinks that he can help, and then of course because he believes that he's this rootin' tootin' cop, right? he deserves more power or something like that, right? He thinks he's a service to the community, I guess, right? So then they go on this whole neighborhood watch where they uncover a lot of things, right? The only con I have with this movie is the inside voice. You know, the whole was it show don't tell. There's a lot of telling in this movie. Sometimes it works, sometimes it really works, but sometimes it's also just it wasn't really needed. Now, of course, the pros, there's a lot of them. The acting, obviously, you have two really good actors playing essentially a buddy cop movie, I guess you could say. Really good acting from both of them. A lot of the people in the movie, the side characters, even the one-off characters, they're really good too. Everyone does their part. Everyone does really good. But besides that, the reviews for the movie is 6.1 out of 10 by IMDb, 74% by Fandango, 68% by Rotten Tomato, and 74% by the people. Anyways, the color of the movie, the overall look, once again, looks pretty good, really good. Editing, very nice editing. Some very nice details, obviously, being the fact that, obviously, Simon still believes in the whole monster in the closet and in the bed. So then when we get a look at his room, he sleeps on a mattress on the floor. Why? Because there can be nothing under the mattress if there's no space there. And not only that, every time before he goes to bed, he grabs a yardstick and touches inside the closet. I think that's a very nice scene, very nice thing. And then there's another good scene about the whole knowing what's real and what's fake, right? Ed carries around a pen that he likes to click. And of course, Simon likes the noise of the click. He's like, no, I like it, right? And throughout the movie, obviously, he's getting these hallucinations up until Ed finally gives him the pen, right? The click. For himself to click. Why? Because he knows that the pen is real, right? And if he clicks the pen, then I guess you could say the not real, the hallucinations go away. And it does go away. And I don't know how real that is in the real world, but it does remind me of this one post saying how he has a dog because he suffers from schizophrenia. He has a dog. And whenever he sees someone that he may think is a hallucination, he tells his dog to go greet the person. If they're real, the dog goes greets them. And if it's fake, the dog just doesn't do anything, right? So it's something similar to that. I like it. I don't know how real it is. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. But overall, it's a very fun movie with some pretty good twists and turns, you know? They uncover who was causing all these kidnappings. They finally find the lady. They free her. They get the cops involved, obviously. They do a pretty good job, and I like it, right? And one of my favorite scenes is just them just hanging out. I like it. I think they complement each other really well. I think this goes on one of the underrated ones, because it's one of those movies, obviously through the posters and everything, you would assume it's not that good a movie. It looks like a low-budget movie, not the best. It's a pretty good movie. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. The dynamic between Simon and Ed, very much enjoyable. The scenes, the hallucinations, obviously him dealing with that, and how they basically go around getting this information, because obviously Ed isn't a cop. He's not even a security guard anymore, so you can't get any information that way, so you have to lie, you have to do all these other things. Really think outside the box to get their job done, and I really enjoyed it. And not to mention, another thing is that Ed is really good at finding out who's lying, right? And he taught I guess you could say, the person who eventually replaced them how to do it. And it's a nice scene. He basically says, oh, if a person is blinking too much or not at all, they're lying, right? And he taught that dude. Only for it to be used against them. It's a good movie. It's funny sometimes. I like the scenes of just them hanging out, lying, obviously. A lot of twists and turns. Overall, a very entertaining movie. Would actually really recommend this movie. 8.5 out of 10. Not a lot of cons. Not a lot. But besides that, the next one is, of course, Predator, Killer of Killers, released on Hulu. To some very good reviews, that being 7.6 out of 10 by IMDb, 5 out of 10 by Screen Rant. Alright, I guess Screen Rants are a bunch of haters. 66% of Google users like the movie. But Rotten Tomatoes, that's where everyone shines. 96% by the critics, and 90% by the people. Really much beloved by it, because it's a very, very good concept that probably should have been done a lot earlier. That being Predator going throughout history to fight the world's greatest warriors. Unfortunately for them, These are unnamed people, right? Because there are three people that they fight. That being the Shield, which is a Viking, the Sword, which is a samurai, and the Bullet, that being a World War II fighter pilot, right? And they fight them, right? That's the point, killer of killers, right? To kill the predators. When they end up getting captured and put in stasis, I guess you could say, where they're transported to fight in front of other predators. Once again, a very good concept. Arguably one of the probably most requested type of concepts for Predator. Obviously, they are unnamed, which is probably what people didn't want. I mean, who wouldn't want to watch a Predator fight Julius Caesar fighting Hannibal, fighting Napoleon, fighting Ulysses S. Grant, fighting, I don't know, Shaka Zulu or something? All these actual named warriors. I think that would have been way cooler. You know, people have, I guess you could say, a connection to them, whether through culture or just, I guess, fanboying over them. Also, the Chinese era of warlords, that would have been amazing. But these are, and it could have been an amazing TV show, but it is an hour and 30 minutes of unnamed warriors. But that doesn't change the fact that it is a very good movie. Now, of course, the pros and the cons. The pros, obviously, the animation, obviously, pretty good. Of course, the different types of predators, obviously, we're used to just seeing one type of predator throughout the live action ones. These are very much different predators. Obviously, their weapons are basically one-to-one of who they're fighting. Obviously, the Viking predator is a big, bulky one, and his only weapon is a sonic boom like wrist gauntlet, which is a very cool weapon. Of course, the one that fights the samurai is, of course, a slim, nimble one who has his own sword, or I guess you could say staff. And it's like a little whip chainsaw thing. It's very cool weapons for all the, I guess you could say, Yautjas. And of course, the one that fights in World War II uses his ship, which is very rarely seen, I guess you could say, in the movies, up until recently. So all these predators are given very unique weapons, especially for their time. Very nice. And the super mega predator, obviously, shown at the end of the movie, looks pretty cool. He literally just decked out in bones of animals he's killed. Very nice. The fights done really well. Now, of course, there are some cons with that. And of course, Torres being the American who fought in World War II. Very nice. He's the comedic relief of the movie. He does pretty well for the most part. The cons: they have to not only buff the predators and also nerf them at the same time. 1 second, they're one-shotting humans, making them look like straight up paper mache, and then 1 second looking like they could barely break through a shield. And not only that, you also have to buff the humans so they can, handle the predators. Once again, being the Viking one, the sonic boom gauntlet I said. In certain scenes, it's enough to literally blow away Viking ships like they're literally nothing, like toothpicks. But next, they can barely break through her shield. Okay, that's weird. And overall, it's a very cool thing. I liked it. Of course, there's also a really good reference, that being at the end of the movie, obviously, Torres and the samurai escape. The Viking sacrifices herself to stay behind. She gets put back into stasis, where we see that the main character of Prey is being captured. Because apparently, if you kill a predator, you get, captured in a ship, so you can fight more, right? Of course, there's other references, obviously being the pirate gun. Very nice. And overall, the backstories are pretty cool too. Obviously, the Viking had to goes on a journey to avenge her dad, and she has a son who basically she says the same thing: "If I die, avenge me." And unfortunately for her, the son dies due to the predator. Right? Very sad, very emotional. The samurai has a brother, right? And they fought essentially to be who would be the next warlord, I guess you could say. And he chooses not to fight his brother, but his brother obviously just beats him and cuts him. And he runs away, turning into a ninja, where he comes back to exact his revenge, only for him and his brother to team up to kill the predator, where unfortunately his brother passes away. Torres just loses his squadron, right? He's drafted into World War II. He has his little squad that he flies with. And unfortunately, they're all taken out, where he's essentially his commander sacrifices himself to help Torres take out the predator. So obviously everyone loses something, so they have something to fight for, right? And overall, it's pretty good. It's serious when it needs to be, and it's comedic when it needs to be. Obviously, Torres is the comedic relief, and overall, it's a pretty good movie. I gave it an 8 out of 10. For the most part, I think the best fight scene out of all of them has to be the samurai, then Torres, then the Viking. Maybe a hot take, I don't know. But besides that, yeah, it's a pretty good movie. Pretty great concept. I think they can continue doing stuff like this. But I really want to see some actual named people in history. Because I mean, who wouldn't want to see that? Come on. But besides that, yeah, 4 movies. Some bad, some really good, some surprising, obviously. So yeah, these are the 4 movies that I caught up on. If you have any specific movies that I haven't watched yet that you want me to cover, just leave it in the comments below. I'll eventually catch up to it. But besides that, hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully I'll catch you in the next one.